Hello, YouTube. We're going to do this once again. So, ironically, I haven't uploaded any lifting because, well, guess what? Little old me is keeping the last couple days of preparation for my own competition this weekend kind of a secret. But for those of you who obviously didn't click the video for that, but I have a substantial amount of my audience that cares. The rest of you, we're here to talk about Inoue versus Fulton. So, I just want to break it down real quick. I was at work today from 6 to 3. No, excuse me, 7 to 3. So nice little 8 hours. And in between at around 11 o'clock, I got into my ESPN Plus app, decided let's watch this shit, and let's make a video about it, kind of immediate versus how I normally do it. Now that said, I want to say real quick, Stephen Fulton is a man of a lot of balls, a man who took risk, and a man who arguably didn't need to take his belts to go to Japan, but he did anyways because he wanted to prove a point, even though it backfired on him. So I do want to talk about the fight and sort of break it down. I think it was somewhat of a shutout. I gave Stephen Fulton round 1 just because I thought he moved and did pretty much decently with the jab as expected. But after that, I guess Inoue just decided to turn it up to a different freaking level, which is something that I didn't imagine was even possible. There's a lot of questions going into this fight. On Inoue's end, more so than Stephen Fulton. Inoue is a career light flyweight moving up to his 4th weight division. We didn't know if his power was going to be up there. We saw Inoue v. Bono roll against an old man in Donaire. I don't think he's an old man, but that's the narrative a lot of people like going with if you go on the Facebook groups, which I like to. But that old man gave him the hardest fight of his career, busted his orbital bone, and made him look human for the first and only time in his career. So the next question was moving from 118 to a new fresh division and facing the #1 guy in Stephen Fulton a smart idea without a tune-up? Clearly the answer was yes. Outside of the first round, like I just said, Stephen Fulton couldn't do anything. Stephen Fulton in round 2 tried to use his jab. Inoue, being the shorter, stumpier, shorter length armed guy, decided to start using his jab. He countered Stephen Fulton's jab with an overhand right. And when Stephen Fulton tried to hug or try to hold, I don't like using the word hug, but when Stephen Fulton tried to hold, and I think his original method was going to be the Vladimir grab and clinch method to victory, Inoue didn't let him. Round 2, round 1, round 3, Stephen Fulton tried. He tried to hold. And Inoue just pushed him off and punched his stomach, punched his sides. He just didn't let that happen. Eventually, around like round 5-ish, Fulton realized, well, shit, boxing Inoue isn't going to be doing anything. And this is where kind of the dynamic of the fight sort of changed in Inoue's favor even more drastically. I mean, Inoue was winning, but up to that point, rounds 1 through 4, it looked like he was going to win a decision. I mean, you could clearly see that Inoue's punches were hurting Steph, but you didn't get the sense that Inoue's was going to hurt him, like knock him out. But round 5 came out, and Stephen decided he wanted to get a little ballsy and try to bang with Inoue. And then you sort of saw a change in dichotomy. The first 4 rounds, Steph was just trying to stay in the distance and a jab. Round 5, he tried, and emphasis on try. He wanted to make it a little bit more dirty and fight with Inoue on the inside. Inoue landed a couple good body shots, and then Steph sort of went back to running on his bike. Granted, I think he realized this man has a lot more power. There was a lot of moments where Stephen Fulton's good defense was on display, but Inoue's just superior boxing IQ. His high guard was just diminished by Inoue's jab, broken through, and ultimately, round 7 was the beginning of the end. 6 was more of the same of round 5. Inoue just kind of beating him. And even, I'd argue, round 7 was Stephen Fulton's best round in the whole fight. Well, not in the whole fight, but since round 1, where he had a couple jabs, he landed a couple on Inoue. But that's kind of the round where he wanted to bang a little bit, and Inoue just showed him who was boss. Round 8 came around, and that was it. Round 8 was something special. I mean, I didn't think Inoue was going to get the knockout. I didn't think he was going to look as spectacular as he did. This was a 50-50 fight in my head before I watched it. And seeing how he set this beautiful punch up. He was setting it up from the beginning. Inoue was throwing a jab to the body, to the body, to the body, and he wanted to overhand right. But Stephen Fulton knew that, so he was pretty good defensively the first 7 rounds about it. But then to round 8 comes, and when they say this dude hits like a truck, man, you can totally tell. There's a video on YouTube or on Reddit that I saw that some guy was ringside watching it. You can hear the punches, but that jab to the body, you could hear it in that video, and clearly it affected Stefan because obviously you saw how his hands reacted. That body shot hurt to the point where both his hands went down in an effort to defend himself. And then Inoue immediately saw that overhand right in the freaking temple area right here, and that was game over. Steph was out on his feet the minute that landed, but God bless him, he didn't want to go down, and Inoue, killer motherfucking instinct. The dude is special. He ran and he saw his prey hurt and he fucking just did it. Bam! Another one. After the right, he came with a left hand and boom, Steph was on the floor. That was it, pretty much. Steph got up, and I mean, for what effort? What was he gonna do? You have one of the greatest finishers of all of boxing right in front of you. And Inoue, spelling blood, did what he did. Beat the living shit out of him for the remaining 5 seconds of the fight. The ref called it off. So yeah, Inoue is #1 pound for pound as of right now. We'll see what happens this weekend with Bud Crawford. If Bud Crawford wins, I think he's pound for one #1, that double undisputed. But that being said, I don't know if Bud will hold on to that if he beats Spence. Because Inoue's going for double undisputed. I hear rumors already in November and in December to go fight Tapales, the guy who beat MJ Akadaliev. I think that's something special. I do expect him to beat the living shit out of the guy who beat MJ, which, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, forgive me, but it's Talapias. I can't say his name. Because if you look at that guy's record, he lost already by KO by lesser opposition than Inoue. So what do you think Inoue's going to do? They're going to offer him a lot of money to go to Japan, obviously. A lot of money to go take his ass beating. Inoue's going to be double undisputed pretty soon. Then what? Move up and fight Robeisy Ramirez? I don't know. The future's bright for Inoue. I mean, honestly, if I were him, double undisputed and retire. There's nothing left to prove. Maybe one more weight class, but that's it. I don't think he'll become undisputed in 126. There's too much politics. Matchroom has a guy. DAZN has a guy. Oh, Matchroom is DAZN. Top Rank has a guy. PBC has a guy. There's just too much to go around. Although he is a cash cow, he might be able to do it. I do think that he's going to beat the living shit out of Tapales next. I don't think anybody at 122 gives him issues. At 126, I mean, maybe just because of the size difference. But then again, this guy's special. You can see his boxing skills is superior than a lot of people gave him credit for. He's not just power. That said, Inoue's #1 pound for pound today. If Bud Crawford wins this Saturday, then Bud Crawford's #1 pound for pound. And if Inoue becomes double undisputed, then the question is, who do you like better? But we have a lot to go till then. We have to wait to see what happens Saturday, but I don't know. Inoue today, your day is great. To Stephen Fulton, I have to give you a lot of props. Thank you for taking the fight. Thank you for being ballsy. Thank you for telling Al Heyman to go eat an ass to go take this fight and try to prove you were the best. It's underrated. A lot of PBC fighters don't do that. They just stick to Al Heyman. Another guy, if it would have been another guy, he would have rematched Brandon Figueroa at 126 pounds for the WBC Reggie belt, like originally planned. But you got to give credit to Steph. He had the balls to go, and he figured out the motherfucking monster's real. And as the words say, Inoue is the real-life Gojira. Godzilla. Anyways, peace. Don't forget to subscribe. Those are just my quick thoughts coming home from work. That's why I look so cute. Bye-bye.